opposing or pushing their
for
agendas.
Reflection of minority media.
They're actually pushing their agendas over to minority media stations in a lot of the other countries, or a lot of the other minority countries such as Mexico, Cuba, and Haiti. So would that also enrage black on black crime, or his Spanish on Spanish hate, or would that hate actually transpire to other nations such as Europe and affect the actual Spanish community over there, where they believe that their ancestors who were actually traveling to Mexico, so they are the ones who are actually war torn or drug incited? Would that affect the media in low minority European nations as well?
Alright, thank you, Speaker. So this question is following. Picking up from the point where you left off, you pointed out the Hispanic community as being involved in war, crime, and drugs. That is the general perception of the Hispanic community. I would like to make a point over here. If I ask you, the Mexican country, who are they the descendants of? Like, we know that Italians are the descendants of the Romans, right? We are the descendants of Mughals, and we are descendants of Arab and Persian, and even Alexander the Great's invasion has an impact on us. Who are the Mexican people descendants of? This is my question to every single one of you. I'll share a piece of knowledge with you. They are the descendants of the Aztecs and the European Spanish conquerors who invaded the land. Now, when that conquest took place, the resulting Mexican population did not call themselves Spanish or Aztecs. They were descendants of people who, when they converted to Catholicism, intermarried and started a new race and generation which included of both people. Henceforward, if you are pushing forward the narrative that these people are involved in drug crimes and narrative, and that is reflected upon the media and even goes forward to international communities, that will be the general perception and lead to further stereotyping of that community. Go on Netflix and search the most popular Mexican Hispanic show that is on the series. You will find Narcos. Isn't Pablo Escobar the first thing that comes into our mind when we think about Mexico? When the Mexican history is so culturally diverse and nuanced that is an unfair representation of every single community. In fact, a lot of countries speak in the Spanish language, and a lot of people, like for example Colombia, Haiti, Cuba, Mexico, and Spain, they're all interlinked with the Spanish culture, and Spanish culture is quite diverse and ethnically inclined. So therefore, doing that, where we negatively reflect that thing, not only shows that prejudice is present in the modern media, but also highlights the racial, gives will to further racial stereotyping and discrimination, which creates an unequal world. Our job is to create a narrative where inequality and discrimination is brought down and cultural diversity is promoted, as our stakeholders are first and foremost the people the communities representing, the majority mass media who will be getting the sources of accurate information from the minority media groups, and ultimately the government and people. So we are creating a society where everyone is represented appropriately and the culture of discrimination is addressed appropriately.
Okay, so the leader of the opposition would like to question the Prime Minister of the leading bloc. The already existing mass media productions and a lot of the media houses,
yes.
Especially the ones in Hollywood like Paramount, Century Fox, and a lot of those movies that were actually made.
Does that include the Hollywood foreign press as well?
That actually does.
Okay.
So that will, that this is one of the things that I'm actually giving, right? So,
yeah.
How about the history that is already affected and the people's minds have been brainwashed, is what the Prime Minister of the leading bloc is trying to say, that people have now been brainwashed into thinking that a lot of the other minorities except for the whites are actually the ones that cause more of the drug problems and the wars and the crimes, and are mostly in jail.
Alright, so did you actually finish that? So you're trying to say that they are leading to a narrative where they're being to be believed?
No. Actually, I'm actually trying to give you this point that since there's a lot of media that is already existing,
fine.
Right? That's already existing. Like a lot of movies are already made. They're already in Netflix and they're already there. So what are you going to do to take them off the grid?
I'll do that.
And I'd just like to add, maybe as a member of the opposition,
yes.
just let me add to it. In the beginning of your motion, you did say that this problem or this issue is actually embedded in society, in people's mind. It's not just the media that is suffering.
It is the people's mind.
It is the people's mind.
Yes.
So then again, if this is there, it is now part of our nature. How do you propose that this can be reduced, and why is it such an issue?
Right.
If it's there in every realm or every domain of the society and in our lives, why are we just talking about the media, and how can you eradicate it in just this domain? If you can share
also,
that.
one more point you have to address this as well. Try to do this one as well. Right. So the leader of the
let him just answer that. Let him just answer that.
This is actually going to come within that, but I want you to actually utilize it.
Fair
right. So the leader of the pro-bloc the Speaker of the House has been pointing out that a lot of these media outlets have been proclamating black on black crime, but
Yes.
is it that black on black crime is not happening, or these stereotypes in general already have a background? Exactly, that's what I'm giving you. Just
So let's hear his point.
so stereotypes already have
Yes.
stereotypes, and a lot of stereotypes already have a background, already pre-existing phenomena and history that actually leads up to that stereotype being in the first place. So does the Speaker of the House actually say that these things already do not exist?
Alright, let's suppose I'm a news media agency. I want to spread credible, informative and beneficial issue of the society that not only reflects the ground realities, but also does positive reporting in a light that is beneficial to society. This house proposes a media that does beneficial reporting to society, because the job of media is not only to make a profit, it is also to do a service to the society, as it is a part of the fabric of society. And representation will not only benefit those communities, but will help us address and resolve those issues. There is something that can be seen from your perspective, and then there is something that is seen from my perspective. I see a Speaker of the opposition, you see me as Speaker of the House. You see me as the government, I see you as the opposition. I'm going to say yes, and you're going to say no, no matter what I say, given the context of this debate. Moving onwards, if there is black on black crime exists. Does that really need to be highlighted in front of the international media and the entire nation, in front of 55 states, that there is a black on black crime taking place, so that people in Georgia, people in Washington, people in California are made aware that black on black crime exists, when there's a lot of other nuanced crimes, for example, police brutality, racial and sexual crimes, bankruptcy, and other things that are actually contributing towards those crimes. So therefore, if the House actually supports that majority news media groups address this issue by taking minority media groups and assigning them the responsibility of doing accurate on-ground reporting, that will actually help us to address this issue. Media cannot actually reach every single person on the ground and ask them what is going on. But if there are valid and variable resources available, that will help them to address this issue and come up with solutions, instead of just highlighting it in a particular narrative. Thank you.
Okay, could you hold the camera for 1 minute? Don't discontinue.
Contradict.
I'll just, as the moderator of the House, I think it's time for me to intervene here. A very good point that has been raised by both the parties here. We want to understand the main role of media is to inform, educate, entertain, and persuade. And we live in a time where we see there's a rise of white supremacy all over the world, especially in the Western media and Western society as well, as we understand. And the cases of mockery, insult, discrimination, racism are taking place every single day. And it could not be understated that media is highly responsible of inciting or provoking such sentiments in the people. So the misrepresentation of the marginalized society, or doing away from the pluralism, or doing away from the diversity or inclusiveness, it should never happen. If it goes this way, as we are having right now, and we do understand that Western media is highly biased against certain minorities and certain communities, so who will uphold the canons of journalism? Who will uphold the rules of journalism? That's the question here. Who is the regulator? Unfortunately, this is the question we must ask: how we can make the media more pluralistic, how we can make the media more diverse and inclusive. So this is the question.
Regulate it, and by whom?
Absolutely. So I'll end the debate here, because we have had very good, healthy discussion, and we'll talk about the things off the record. Because we do understand this is the bigotry is a natural phenomena. It will take place. But if media becomes a party to it, it gets worse, and it has got negative consequences and ramifications which we want to do away with. So yes, the basic rule of media is transparency, is honesty, loyalty, whatever we say. There's no such thing like fairness. It's just a side. Yeah.
That's what you're propagating.
It's just the side of the media we will look at. So we'll sum up it after the video is over. Why don't you turn off this video and then we discuss?